Thank you for coming to Excel event. My name is Tomomi. I am program manager of Google Earth Outreach. Google Earth Outreach is to introduce our GeoTools, Google's GeoTools, to NPOs and educators and researchers and scientists. And one of GeoTools is Earth Engine. Earth Engine is petabyte planetary scale analysis platform. You can access to 40 years satellite imagery and more than 200 observation data and computation power. And then through Earth Engine initiatives, I got to know the company, this startup, Axel Space. And then I got so excited to know about this exciting startups. So I could not help inviting them to provide a talk. So they will explain about their mission and then little bit engineering stuff. I mean the coding stuff, maybe. No coding, yeah.
Coding,
yeah, yeah. And then, yeah. So please welcome Łukasz from Axel Space.
Yes. Thank you very much for introduction. My name is Łukasz. Today I'm going to talk how we can protect forests from space. First, let me introduce myself. So, I came to Japan several years ago. I've been working mainly in startups, and I graduated from Jagiellonian University in Poland, in Krakow. And now I'm working as a space business intelligence engineer at Axel Space. And I have several hobbies. One of them is open source, handcraft, mainly wood and traditional instruments. So yeah, a few words about my company, Axel Space. Have you ever heard, has anyone of you heard about Axel Space before? 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, that's a lot. We have a really good audience today. So Axel Space is, in my opinion, an amazing company. So we are a team of approximately 60 people, most of them software and hardware and software engineers. And we have 2 offices in Tokyo, in Nihonbashi. And what makes us different from other hardware and software startups is that we are making satellites in our office. So actually, to be more specific, these are microsatellites. To give you an idea what's the difference between microsatellite and normal satellite, please have a look at this photo. Here on the right side, we have a normal satellite, NASA or ESA satellite. It's basically like it's few tons. And here on the photo on the left, you can see one of our smallest satellite, microsatellite, which is just like a few centimeters. So the main difference is size, right? Another difference is obviously price. So we are building those satellites in our office. We are testing them, and we are launching them to low Earth orbit. Yeah, this is Soyuz rocket. So during the last few years, we've launched several microsatellites to orbit. These were really successful missions, and at the moment we are working on a constellation of satellites, and also in parallel on a quite a big project for JAXA. So today's topic is how we can we protect forests from space. So maybe first let me briefly explain what's the relation between forest and human. What are the economical and cultural links between them? So yeah, approximately 30% of Earth land area is occupied by forests. So these are blue-green areas here, mainly. And there are basically three types of forests. First one is boreal forest, mainly on the northern hemisphere, near polar regions, where temperatures are really, really low. Second one is temperate forest, warm regions mainly in northern hemisphere, also in Japan. Moderate temperature and rainfalls. And third one is tropical forest, near the equator, where temperatures are really high, high humidity, and very, very heavy rainfalls. So what's special about rainforest, about tropical forest, is that it's a home for hundreds of thousands of living species. And sadly, 50% of tropical forest is already destroyed. So what are the main human activities related to forests? What do you think? What are the main activities except logging, except cutting? Like some ideas? Camping, maybe? Trekking?
They burn the forest to make crops on it?
Exactly, yes. So forest conversion into agriculture, right? So this is also one of activity, right? In fact, there are a lot of them. When you think about it, like urban planning, cleaning land for mines and solar solar power plants, access to natural resources, disaster prevention, agriculture, academic research. There are a lot of different activities. In fact, we are very strongly connected with forests. The problem is that we are doing some of these things too much in an uncontrollable way sometimes. So especially it becomes clear when you look at the Earth from different perspective, from higher perspective, directly actually from space. The size of deforestation is amazing. This is the photo taken by one of our satellites in New Zealand. Yeah, it's southern part of New Zealand. And it's really kind of shocking. So to put it into numbers, 13.7 million hectares a year are cut down. So I don't know if you are interested in football, but probably you have some impression how big football pitch is. So this is basically 19 million football pitches every year. It's hard to imagine, but it's unfortunately true. And the problem is that only 50% of this forest is replanted. So what are the influenced areas? Mainly, basically, whole world. Climate change, loss of natural habitat, soil erosion, flooding, greenhouse emissions. Those things have very negative effect on different commercial activities and human health. By region, if we look at by region, then you can see that during last, I think, 20, 30 years, Brazil lost approximately 15% of forest coverage, Ethiopia up to 90%, Madagascar 90%, Nigeria 80% within last 15 years only. Indonesia minus 40%. These are really bad examples. However, there are also good examples like China and Europe, also Canada and United States. So some of you might think like, why? What's the difference? Why we have such a huge deforestation in this region, but we have the situation is actually opposite in different. So this is also very interesting thing, and a lot of researchers, a lot of organizations are investigating this topic. And there are several ideas. One of them is called Kazan's curve effect. Basically, we are observing increased deforestation in tropical regions and decreased deforestation in highly developed areas. There might be a lot of reasons for that. situation. One of them is definitely demand for wood has changed during the last few years, especially in highly developed countries. But probably the biggest problem is that we are outsourcing deforestation. But it's really hard to say. There is no clear idea what is the biggest reason, how to change that trend, because we don't have enough data. Data is not accessible enough. So there are a lot of ideas, solutions, how to improve, how to fight with this kind of problem. Definitely increased awareness of this problem has led to a lot of big changes in regional law, in international agreements. A lot of countries are creating protected areas to protect forests. There are a lot of amazing organizations which are monitoring and gathering data, like Forum Africa and different analysis companies. So, how to improve this situation? At Exoplay, we think that one of the solutions is to improve planet scale monitoring through fast access to data, affordable access to data, high quality analysis ready data, and tools to analyze it, as well as communication and knowledge sharing. Our solution is called AxelGlobe, and it's a constellation of satellites which will help us to photograph entire world every day at 2.5 meter resolution. To better understand how we can use this constellation, let's have a look at a short video. Okay, so we are going to use our constellation to monitor whole Earth daily, accumulate the data, analyze it, and deliver it to various organizations, companies, and governments to be able to analyze data to see how we can change this situation. So AxelGlobe solves several of the problems, several of needs I mentioned before. First of all, fast access to data. Web platform and API we are building now will help basically anyone to access data from entire world every day for a really cheap price. It's approximately a few dollars per 1 square kilometer. And our constellation will provide high quality analysis ready data with high temporal, spatial, and spectral resolution in a standardized way. All data will be processed and analyzed, so ready to use. And so probably this is most important slide here. How Axel Global will help protecting forest then? First of all, by lowering cost of monitoring. Imagine, well, let's go back to this to the previous picture here. Imagine how long it will take to monitor this area of forest using drones, using helicopters or airplanes. How expensive it would be. However, with satellites is always in orbit, so you can take the photo anyway, anytime you want. So definitely it will help to reduce the cost and basically lower the barrier for entry to improve monitoring, and insights will be much more accessible. Second point is forest health analysis through land cover classification and plant health analysis. To better understand this topic, let me briefly explain what electromagnetic spectrum is. I think most of you here are engineers. Our satellites will focus on a specific part of electromagnetic spectrum, which is between 400 nanometers and 900 nanometers, which is basically visible light plus infrared spectrum, near infrared spectrum. Fortunately for us, this part of spectrum is visible through atmosphere, right? Which is not that obvious because there are some other areas of the spectrum which atmosphere is not opaque to. So, So by using machine learning and especially deep learning, we are able to categorize, to classify terrain, to measure the area covered by forest, by fields, by cities, and to understand how that area is changing over time, which is very important for monitoring. We can therefore detect also logging, especially illegal logging. Here another example. Also, one of very interesting characteristics of this electromagnetic spectrum we are focusing on is that plants are reflecting two parts of electromagnetic spectrum. One is green light, what we see in our eyes as a green light. Another is infrared. Unfortunately, we can't see it, but we can sense it from space. So, and also one more important thing, interesting thing here is that the more plant is healthy, the stronger it reflects infrared, near infrared part of the spectrum. So, as you can see here on the graph. So by monitoring this thing from space, we can very easily say whether, as here on this example, whether a plant is healthy or not. This is a really small scale, but if we look at a bigger scale, there is some small forest in a town, and here you can see that this part on the right hand is probably affected by some kind of disease or some kind of insect. So just by taking one photo from space, we can understand that something is happening, and we should probably send drones or human for an inspection. And this is on even larger scale. And again, how long it will take to monitor this area using even a helicopter. So, and the third point is alerting. So coverage measurements I mentioned before, and object and activity detection. This is also what we are focusing on. Basically, this is the example from Kumamoto earthquake last year, as far as I remember. And by analyzing the difference between subsequent photos from the same area, we can easily detect changes, like in this case, landslides. So even if a certain area doesn't have infrastructure to go to investigate what's happening, we can always take photo from space. So it helps to act faster. Yeah, so this brings me to the end of this presentation. So, as I mentioned in the beginning, there is a deep connection between forest and human. And deforestation is really a huge problem. And however, we have the technology, we have the ideas how to solve this problem, how to at least improve this situation. So we strongly believe that Axel Global will help to protect forest through fast and affordable access to high quality data and insights, through lowering costs of monitoring and alerting, and forest health analysis basically on a planet scale. I think we still have some time, so maybe I will show you several photos from our previous satellites to give you some glimpse into like how beautiful photos we can take from space. So this is thank you very much. Yeah. So this is South America. Yes, southern part of South America. There is a glacier there, which is still not affected by global warming. This is really beautiful photo of a river in Madagascar. This is Mount Fuji in Japan. And this is one small island in French Polynesia. And this is called the Eye of Sahara, is in Mauritania, as far as I remember. And this photo was taken in Algeria. There are sand dunes. And Italy. Minnesota, USA, taken last winter. Everything covered in snow. And the south part of New Zealand. Colorado, USA. And yeah, some plants in Saudi Arabia. Bay of Hong Kong in China. So more at axelglobal.com. You can visit. You can see much more photos there. You can enjoy how Earth is beautiful.